Why big cats thrived while big dogs faded. Thunderous roars echo across prehistoric skies. Paw prints the size of dinner plates press into the mud. In a world where lions and tigers grow to royal proportions, why do wolves remain merely shadows of these giants? Why did evolution crown the cats as kings of size, while the dogs of the wild grew small and swift? These questions linger like a suspenseful drum roll. The answers lie in the ancient dance of evolution and survival. The story of how tigers and lions became big cats while wolves and their kin ended up smaller than some of their own prehistoric cousins is a tale of strategy, environment, and fate. It's a saga written over millions of years, filled with dramatic twists, from ferocious saber-toothed predators ambushing prey in primeval jungles to packs of ancestral wolves running down game on open steppes. Why did the cats grow so huge? Why did the biggest dogs vanish? Stay with us as we unravel this mystery, journeying from the dawn of cats and dogs to a speculative what-if scenario that will ignite your imagination. The answers are coming, and they may surprise you. Origins of two fabled families. Long before modern lions stalked the savannah or wolves howled at the moon, their ancestors were humble creatures living in a world of giants. The earliest felids, cat family, were small weasel-like hunters threading through ancient forests. Paleontologists often point to a creature named Proilurus, a cat from about 25 to 30 million years ago, as one of the first true cats. It was compact and small, roughly the size of an ocelot or domestic cat, perhaps around 19 to 22 pounds, 9 to 10 kilograms. Not exactly the fearsome image of a tiger. Meanwhile, the earliest canids, dog family, were evolving along different lines. By about 30 to 40 million years ago in North America, small fox-sized dog ancestors like Hesperocyon and Delphinus roamed, the latter belonging to a group ominously dubbed bear dogs, Amphicyonidae. These proto-dogs were also quite small, some under 4.4 pounds, 2 kilograms, living in the shadows of larger predators of their day. Why such a diminutive start for both cats and dogs? The world back then was brimming with monstrous carnivores unrelated to today's cats and dogs. In the Oligocene epoch, 30+ million years ago, top predator roles were occupied by fierce creodonts and nimravids, false saber-tooths, among others. Our tiny cat and dog ancestors survived by keeping a low profile, hunting small prey, scavenging leftovers, and avoiding becoming snacks for the bigger beasts. Evolution was holding its cards close. The age of giant cats and dogs had not yet dawned, but climate and continents were on the move. As epochs passed, forests shrank and grasslands spread. New niches opened up. The stage was set for cats and dogs to step into the spotlight, and for some of them to get very big. The rise of the big cats. Cats as a family found their breakthrough. By around 20 million years ago, true felids had diversified, and some lineages started to increase in size. One branch led to the saber-toothed cats, subfamily Machairodontinae, famed for their sword-like fangs, and another gave rise to the modern big cats, genus Panthera, lions, tigers, jaguars, leopards. These feline dynasties exploited a winning strategy: ambush predation. Rather than long chases, they specialized in stealth and power, creeping as close as possible and then unleashing explosive attacks on prey. Growing larger was advantageous for this hunting style. A bigger cat packs a mightier punch, literally. With more muscle behind it, a lion or tiger can wrestle large prey to the ground single-handedly. Indeed, felines underwent multiple evolutionary jumps in body size, with the earlier felids, 22 pounds, 10 kilograms, Proilurus eventually giving rise to some lineages exceeding 220 pounds, 100 kilograms. By the late Miocene, 10 million years ago, truly massive cats had evolved. Prehistoric felines like Machairodus and Amphimachairodus prowled Eurasia, rivaling modern tigers in size, while their North American cousin Smilodon was on its way to legend. One shining example was the famous saber-toothed cat Smilodon. Although not a direct ancestor of modern lions and tigers, Smilodon shared their penchant for brawn. The South American species Smilodon populator grew to astonishing size. Some individuals may have weighed up to 900 pounds, 400+ kilograms. Imagine a cat heavier than a grand piano, armed with canines like daggers. In fact, Smilodon populator ranks among the largest felids ever known. Its limbs were powerfully built, its claws retractable and razor-sharp, perfect for gripping struggling prey. Such physical might let these cats tackle huge herbivores, bison, young mammoths, even giant ground sloths. The big cat playbook was simple: ambush, muscle, and a swift kill bite. Crucially, many big cats led mostly solitary lives, or in small family groups. A lone hunter had to be big and strong enough to subdue prey without any help. Evolution delivered. Cats like tigers or the prehistoric American cave lion, Panthera atrox, developed into formidable solo predators, often exceeding 440 to 660 pounds, 200 to 300 kilograms in the largest males. Modern Siberian tigers can reach 661 pounds, 300 kilograms. Their tools, long canines, retractable claws, powerful forelimbs, were honed for dispatching prey quickly and efficiently. Paleontologists note that cats of the Panthera line, which arose roughly 5 to 6 million years ago, all share these traits and a propensity for larger size compared to most other carnivores. Even their teeth reflect their predatory style. Ironically, cats have bigger canines, fangs, than actual canines do. It wasn't that every cat became huge. Plenty of small wild cats thrived, and still do. But the niches for apex predator in many ecosystems tended to reward bigness in felines. Where cover was available, jungles, woodlands, or even tall grass, an ambush hunter could use stealth instead of speed. In those habitats, being large was more help than hindrance. A tiger lurking in reeds can afford to be 250 kilograms of muscle. Its prey never sees it until it's too late. Size became the hallmark of the great cats, a lineage that today gives us lions and tigers as living relics of that evolutionary arms race. Yet as the big cats rose, what of their canine counterparts? Did dogs take a similar path? The answer lies in a surprising divergence of lifestyle and a twist of fate that saw the largest dogs of prehistory vanish, leaving smaller heirs to carry on the canine legacy. When dogs tried to be big. Rewind to the Miocene epoch, 15 to 10 million years ago. In North America, strange and fierce predators stalked the land. Some were canid relatives that had grown very large. These weren't dogs as we know them, but an extinct subfamily called Borophagines, the so-called bone-crushing dogs. Among them was a true giant, Epicyon hedeni, often cited as the largest wild dog that ever lived. Fossils show Epicyon could reach 8.2 feet, 2.5 meters in length, and about 3.2 feet, 1 meter at the shoulder, with an estimated mass around 275 pounds, 125 kilograms on average, roughly the size of a lioness or a small bear. Incredibly, the biggest specimens might have weighed up to 370 pounds, 170 kilograms. Picture an uber wolf almost the size of a grizzly bear. By comparison, the infamous Direwolf, an Ozyondirus of the Ice Age, was only about half that size, averaging 132 to 150 pounds, 60 to 68 kilograms, on par with the largest modern grey wolves. These giant canids were apex predators of their time. Epicyon skull features and worn teeth suggest a bone-crushing scavenger predator lifestyle, much like modern hyenas. Powerful jaws and specialized molars allowed it to crack open bones to reach the nutritious marrow. It likely hunted large prey as well, perhaps camels, early horses, even young rhinos that shared its Miocene habitat. Some evidence heavily debated even hints they could have been pack hunters, meaning a group of dogs might have cooperated to bring down colossal herbivores. For millions of years, the big dogs flourished. Epicyon and its kin dominated North America, sitting comfortably at the top of the food chain. So what happened? Why don't we see 300-pound wild dogs today? The reign of the big Borophagines eventually came to an end, and the reasons illuminate why the cat family ended up outlasting them in the size department. The downfall of the giant canids was twofold: competition from new predators and changing climates that favored a different hunting strategy. Firstly, the cats arrived. Felidae originated in Eurasia and were absent in North America until roughly the late Miocene. Around 18 to 19 million years ago, ancestral big cats and saber-toothed cats began crossing into North America via land bridges. At first, they were newcomers finding their footing, but within a few million years, these cats gained an ecological foothold and started occupying the same niches as the bone-crushing dogs. Critically, the cats had some competitive advantages: retractable claws for clinging to struggling prey, more flexible muscular forelimbs, and deadly bite techniques. Some, like saber-tooths, could deliver precision throat bites with saber-like fangs. In essence, the cats were built to be ambush specialists par excellence. A contemporary writer put it succinctly: with retractable claws, powerful forelimbs, and, in the case of saber-toothed cats, throat-puncturing canines, these prehistoric cats were much better equipped for grappling and killing large herbivores. The big dogs, like Epicyon, were strong predators, but perhaps less refined in those solo-killing tools. Over time, cats outcompeted many of the Biophagine dogs for large prey hunting roles. Fossil records suggest that as cat species spread, the diversity of those large canids dwindled. It's evocative to think of a Piccion and a saber-toothed cat facing off over a carcass. In the long run, the cat's sharper claws might win the day. Secondly, around the same time, Earth's climate and landscapes were shifting. The late Miocene into Pliocene epochs saw forests give way even more to open grasslands. For a predator, this changes the optimal hunting style dramatically. In open terrain, stealth ambush is harder. There's less cover to sneak up. Instead, speed and endurance become crucial to chase down prey in the open. This ecological change favored a different kind of canid, the lean, long-legged pursuit hunter. Indeed, even as the big Borophogenes declined, another subfamily of canids, ancestors of wolves, coyotes, and foxes, was evolving swiftly. These true dogs, canini, were generally smaller, faster, and smarter. They did not attempt to wrestle megafauna one-on-one like a big cat. Rather, they could cooperate in packs and run prey to exhaustion over long distances. The giants like a Piccion, built more for power ambush, found themselves in an environment increasingly out of their element. As one summary describes, the expanding grasslands favored fast hunters who could chase prey across longer distances, whereas huge ambush predators struggled when there was nowhere to hide. The big dogs were in trouble. By the late Pliocene, 3 to 2.5 million years ago, the last of the bone-crushing Borophogenes went extinct. Their departure marks the end of big dogs as a dominant force. From then on, the canid family's top predators were the wolves and coyotes, endurance runners and pack hunters that were indeed much smaller than the likes of a Piccion. Even the Pleistocene direwolf, often thought of as huge, was roughly the same size as the largest modern grey wolves. No wild canine ever again reached the scale of the largest felines. Evolution had charted a different course for them, adaptability and cooperation over sheer size. As one naturalist quipped, the lineage of giant dog-like carnivores effectively became something else. A prehistoric beast called Amphision, often nicknamed the bear dog, is sometimes cited in this context. It lived over 15 million years ago and grew to lion size or bigger. Though not a direct ancestor of modern dogs, it was an amphicyonid, related but distinct. Creatures like Amphision illustrate a point. In the evolutionary family tree of dog-like carnivores, the truly massive forms ended up evolving into or being replaced by the bear lineage, Ursidae. As one source wryly noted, the really big dogs aren't dogs anymore, they're bears. In other words, canids ceded the giant ground predator role to cats and bears, while they themselves specialized in being cunning social hunters. Small pack hunters versus big solo killers, an evolutionary balancing act. By now, a picture should be emerging. Big cats and relatively smaller canids persisted because each had found a successful strategy. It wasn't preordained that cats get to be big and dogs must be small. Rather, it was circumstance and specialization. Let's distill the key differences. Hunting strategy. Most big cats, think tigers, leopards, the extinct saber-tooths, are ambush predators. They rely on concealment, short bursts of speed, and overwhelming force at the moment of attack. To make a quick kill alone, bigger size is a huge asset. In contrast, wild canids, wolves, wild dogs, evolved towards endurance pack hunting on open plains. They chase prey over long distances. The goal is to wear the prey out, not necessarily tackle it in one pounce. For such a strategy, speed and stamina trump brute size. Being too large is actually a liability for endurance hunting. A heavier body overheats faster and tires out before the prey does. Thus, natural selection optimized wolves and their kin to be lean, not enormous. Even today, the fastest coursing predators, like African wild dogs or coyotes, are medium-sized. Speed demons like the cheetah, notably a cat, are also relatively small, 110 pounds, 50 kilograms, because for running, lightweight helps. Group versus solo. As mentioned, dogs often hunt in packs, meaning multiple smaller individuals can together take on big prey. 5 40-kilogram wolves working as a unit can bring down a 400-kilogram moose. There's less pressure for any single wolf to be gigantic when teamwork is part of the equation. Cats, aside from lions, are predominantly solitary or in very small groups. A lone 88 pounds, 40-kilogram cheetah cannot easily kill a 881 pounds, 400-kilogram zebra, but a 440 pounds, 200-kilogram tiger can subdue a 881 pounds, 400-kilogram water buffalo on its own. So cats that hunted larger prey evolved to pack as much muscle into one body as possible. dogs took a different path. Cooperation allowed them to remain individually smaller, but collectively effective. There's also an advantage to being moderate-sized if you live in a pack. Smaller animals need less food per individual. A wolf pack can better survive hard times than a pride of equivalently heavy tigers could, because the wolves individually have lower energy demand. This may have been a factor in past extinctions. Big solitary carnivores, saber-toothed cave lions, struggled when their large prey dwindled, whereas packs of wolves could scrape by on rabbits and carrion if needed. Anatomical specialization. Cats armed themselves for power, larger canine teeth, retractable claws, strong forequarters. Dogs tended toward cursory, running adaptations. Long legs, non-retractable claws that act like running spikes, leaner build. There's even a fun pun in biology. Cats are bigger canines than canines. The big fangs and claws of cats are overkill for smaller prey, but crucial for swiftly slaying a large animal by oneself. Dogs didn't evolve such extreme killing tools. They evolved tools for the chase, plus enhanced brains for coordination. Pack tactics require smarts. In fossil skulls, we see that by the Pleistocene, canids had developed larger brain cases, relative to body, than their archaic bear-dog forebears. Intelligence and cooperation were the canid superpowers that in many ways compensated for lack of size. In summary, by the Ice Age, the world had settled into a pattern. Big cats like lions, tigers, and Smilodon ruled as solitary emperors of predation, while canids like wolves carved out a niche as the relentless pack hunters. Each was superbly fitted to its role. The largest wolves remained considerably smaller than the largest cats. For example, a big male lion is still roughly 3 times heavier than a typical male grey wolf. This size disparity is genetic and evolutionary, not just a fluke. As one observer noted, even our domestic dogs show it. The biggest dog breeds, like Mastiffs or Great Danes, are human-made and still much smaller than a tiger. No naturally evolved wild dog ever matched a lion or tiger's mass, because it was never evolutionary necessary or advantageous. Clash of the Titans. Sabertooth versus Direwolf, a prehistoric encounter. To really appreciate the contrasts, let's imagine a scene from the late Ice Age, about 15,000 years ago in what is now California. On a golden plain dotted with scrub and oak, a colossal mammoth lies dying, stuck in a sticky tar pit, the famous La Brea tar pit scenario. The smell of tar and blood fills the air. The first on the scene is a saber-toothed cat, Smilodon fatalis. At 550 pounds, 250 kilograms, he's a massive male with canines like scimitars protruding from his jaws. He creeps low, muscles rippling, and pounces on the struggling mammoth, aiming for a final killing bite. But he is not alone. Emerging from the dusk is a pack of dire wolves, 5, 10, 20 of them, each about 15 pounds, 70 kilograms, with thick fur and bone-crushing jaws. They hang back at first, watchful. The saber-tooth growls, mantling the mammoth carcass. The wolves are smaller individually, but they have numbers and patience. One by one, more wolves gather, circling and yipping. The big cat, evolution's solitary warrior, now faces evolution's collaborative team. He snarls and swipes with huge claws, keeping the pack at bay. Yet as minutes drag on, he cannot fend off all sides. A bold wolf darts in to nip at his flank, a feint, drawing the cat's rage. Meanwhile, another wolf lunges and tears a mouthful of mammoth flesh, then retreats. The saber-tooth is formidable. Any single wolf would be foolish to fight him, but collectively they harass and distract the cat, who now has to defend on all fronts. Eventually, the exhausted Smilodon relinquishes his prize with a roar, melting back into the shadows to avoid injury. The pack triumphs. The wolves feast on the mammoth through the night, their hungry howls piercing the chill air. This scenario is not far-fetched. Fossil evidence from La Brea shows both Smilodon and dire wolves were abundant and likely competed for megafauna carcasses in Pleistocene North America. It illustrates the eternal balance, a big cat's strength versus a pack's cooperation. The dire wolves, interestingly, had a more robust build and stronger bite than modern wolves, adapted for tackling large Pleistocene herbivores. But they were still pack animals and not enormously larger than today's wolves. Smilodon, on the other hand, shows how far felids pushed the envelope of size and power, and how that strategy, while potent, made them deeply dependent on large prey. When the Ice Age ended and the mammoths, giant sloths, and other megafauna died out, 10 to 12,000 years ago, the saber-tooths vanished too. Their large size and specialized killing method became a curse in a world where only smaller prey remained. The direwolves also went extinct around 10,000 years ago, possibly for similar reasons: loss of prey and competition from smaller, more generalist grey wolves, Canis lupus, which survived. What remained after this extinction event were the survivors that could make do. Grey wolves, being slightly smaller and more adaptable, persisted and would eventually give rise to domestic dogs. Big cats also survived, but only those with some flexibility or geographic luck. Lions in Africa, Asia, somewhat social, and the African plains still had big prey like buffalo, tigers in Asia's forests, jaguars in the Americas. The true massive cats, like the American lion and saber-tooth, were gone. In essence, nature reset the balance, and interestingly, even the surviving big cats, lions, tigers, remained larger than any canid. The largest wolf today, the northwestern wolf, might reach 154 to 176 pounds, 70 to 80 kilograms in exceptional cases, whereas a large male tiger easily doubles that. The evolutionary trajectory set millions of years prior still echo in today's fauna. What if giants still roamed? Evolution took one path, but what if it had taken another? It's time to let our imagination roam. What if the giant canids had not died out? What if somewhere in a remote corner of the world, a 330 pounds, 150 kilogram wolf still hunted alongside lions and tigers? Or flip the question, what if cats had never evolved those big sizes, and instead we had big dogs as apex predators? In a speculative alternative timeline, we might see packs of super wolves dominating the savannah instead of a lion pride. Perhaps a pack of mega wolves coordinates to bring down an elephant. Each wolf is the size of a bear, yet through cooperation, they manage to coexist. A delicate balance. In reality, too much size might make the pack's social structure hard to sustain due to food needs. The savannah's king of beasts might have been a dog, not a cat. Lions in this scenario might remain smaller, elusive forest hunters, overshadowed by canid competition. It was suggested by one paleontologist that had things gone differently, the big dogs might have kept evolving, but then they wouldn't be dogs as we know them, they'd be something else. Indeed, it's intriguing to consider that if canids had continued in the direction of Apicion and beyond, perhaps we'd classify them as a wholly new group. Earth could have been home to dog bears, massive intelligent carnivores combining the endurance of wolves with the sheer bulk of bears. Let's bring it closer to home. What if Smilodon hadn't gone extinct 10,000 years ago? Human prehistory would have been even more harrowing. Early Americans coexisted with these predators briefly. If saber-tooths had persisted, would humans have domesticated wolves so easily? One reason wolves and not big cats became man's best friend is that canids had the right social structure and size to adapt to human encampments. A wolf can be tamed and trained with difficulty, but it happened. A solitary tiger, not so much. If dire wolves were still around, perhaps humans would have forged bonds with them too, resulting in gigantic dire dogs accompanying us. Imagine hunting with a tame dire wolf at your side. Conversely, imagine if lions were as small as coyotes. We might never call them king of the jungle. Size shapes perception. A world where big dogs rule and big cats never existed would flip many cultural symbols and stories. Speculatively, had the climate not shifted to favor open ground hunting, Apicion and its kin might have survived longer. Perhaps in South America, where some large barophagenes lingered, a giant canid could have made it into the Pleistocene alongside saber-tooths. One could envision a contest in Pleistocene South America between Smilodon populator, the huge saber-tooth, and an equally huge descendant of Apicion. Who would win? The cat with its stabbing fangs, or the superdog with its bone-crushing bite and pack allies? In the real timeline, we know cats won in that region. Smilodon thrived until humans arrived. But it's tantalizing to wonder if some bone crusher could have survived to challenge them. Alas, in our reality, nature opted for a world where big cats fill the solitary apex predator niches, and canids fill the pack hunter niches. There is a certain equilibrium to it, each doing what it does best. Perhaps if giants still roamed today, our world would be even more dangerous and awe-inspiring. One thing is certain, we humans would have faced greater challenges as we spread across the globe. It's already humbling that our ancestors contended with lions, tigers, and wolves. Add in saber-tooths or 300-pound wolf beasts, and survival would have been an even more precarious drama. Conclusion: evolution's verdict. In the end, the story of why lions and tigers are big cats but wolves and dogs remain comparatively small comes down to different evolutionary strategies shaped by environment and competition. Big cats evolved from smaller felines by maximizing the traits needed for solitary ambush hunting, resulting in some of the largest, most powerful predators to walk the earth. Wolves and other canids had their moment of bigness in the past, Epicyon, direwolves, but the changing world favored those that could hunt in packs and pursue prey over long distances, a path that rewarded intelligence, cooperation, and moderate size over sheer bulk. The largest canine predators ultimately bowed out, whether by losing out to better-equipped cats, by failing to adapt to climate shifts, or by evolving into other forms like bears. Today's ecosystems still reflect this ancient divide. The biggest land carnivores in most regions are felids, or occasionally bears, not canids. The genetic legacy means that even our attempts to breed gigantic dogs hit a ceiling far below lion size. Evolution has hardwired limits and optimal designs for each family. Big cats remain protein-hungry, muscle-bound ambushers. Canids remain lean, energy-efficient runners. As one science writer succinctly put it, big cats generally hunt alone by stealth, so they needed to get big. Wild dogs work in packs out in the open, so speed and endurance count. Size is not an asset for them. That, in a nutshell, is the answer. This tale of two families, cats and dogs, is dramatic and at times emotional because it's a story of survival. One can almost feel sympathy for the mighty direwolf as its species fades, or for the saber-tooth as it breathes its last when the mastodons vanish. Yet their descendants and cousins live on, carrying their memory. Next time you hear the roar of a lion or the howl of a wolf, remember that each is the product of an ancient choice: to reign alone in fearless strength, or to run with the pack in relentless pursuit. Evolution, the ultimate storyteller, allowed both to flourish in its narrative, but it gave the crown of size to the cats and the crown of endurance to the dogs. Each is a king in its own right, and the world is richer and safer for us that these giants and super packs now exist only in our imaginations and in the fossils beneath our feet. The suspense has broken, the answers unveiled, a saga of big cats and not-so-big dogs, written in bone and tooth across the eons.